What's going on, everyone? Billy Carson here, aka Forbidden Knowledge. What if I told you that a former congressman made a very bold statement? He states that he was briefed by the military on an alien hybrid program. That's the topic we're going to talk about tonight. And when you find out where they got the people to experiment on in this alien program, it's going to shock you. We'll be right back.
Forbidden Knowledge Television.
This is logged in on November 25th, 2023, Eastern Standard Time. Sensitive material has been breached and it is now in front of the public. This is very sensitive documentation and the world will be in total chaos if leaked, and it is now leaked. All of it. Not one document, all of it. Place of exploitation, Forbidden Knowledge Television. This must be stopped.
Right. What's going on, everyone? Billy Carson, aka Forbidden Knowledge here. Wow. What has been going on with this new information? About an alien hybrid program. And thank you for everyone in the live chat. As you see Zakia from our Forbidden Knowledge Academy in the live chat, David, D. Stokes, Brian, Christian, Karma, Daisio, Zenobia. We got so many people here tonight, so I appreciate y'all. So recently, former Congressman Matt Gaetz went live on a show and made a very bold statement. He said something that we've been talking about and saying, we meaning conspiracy realists, for a very, very long time. Okay, a very long time. He went live and he talked about that he was debriefed by the military on an alien hybrid program. We're talking about Matt Gaetz, the man that was actually looked at to be the AG. He would have been in Pam Bondi's position. He is a former congressman. Really, this statement doesn't surprise me at all, number one. Number two, he also mentioned David Grush. David Grush, in a congressional hearing, which you can look up on YouTube, made a very, very bold statement about a couple of years ago. A couple of years ago, David Grush said in a congressional hearing under oath that we are in possession of non-human entities. That's another way of saying aliens. And also, we have the non-human craft. These are craft that are not made by human beings. These are alien craft. Something that we've all known for a very long time, that there's a crash retrieval program, that there are beings on this planet, and unfortunately, some of them have been captured. Some of them are hidden away in military bases. Some seem to have the ability to come and go or are collaborating, and some seem to be prisoners. The ones that Matt Gaetz were talking about, from his perspective of the conversation he claims he had, was that there were people being abducted, not by aliens, but by humans, stolen off the streets of America, and then put into this mating program, this hybridization program, where they were experimenting to see if these aliens could in some way mate, or the genetics would work back and forth with human beings. Very, very bold claim. Interesting. Now, why would they want to see if these aliens were compatible with human beings? Well, in my opinion, it's very simple. When you read a lot of these ancient texts, you discover that these beings that came from heaven to earth from heaven to earth, and they actually made it with human beings. When the sons of God made it with the daughters of men, they gave birth to the Nephilim. That's in the Old Testament of the Bible, right? And so we're talking about statements that are being made that, in my opinion, have a lot of credence to them. But because of the state of the world and all of the distractions, a lot of people have kind of just swept it under the rug or are not paying attention to it, because we have the next disaster or war of the day. We have the next battle over resources of the day, and important things that we should be really paying attention to and understanding more are being swept under the rug and forgotten about, right? And so this is Matt Gaetz here. And this is from an official source. Trump's initial pick for AG claimed military briefed him on alien breeding program involving humans. And according to Matt Gaetz' statement, these were people that were literally abducted. Not alien abducted, human abducted, and brought into this breeding program. Most likely, this is my personal opinion now. I always tell you when it's my personal opinion, most likely homeless people. The forgotten, the downtrodden, the people that no one is looking for, most likely homeless people. Take them off the street, put some food in their belly, siphon them away to this military project, laboratory somewhere, and put them through all these tests, maybe take genetic material from them, see if it's compatible with these other beings, so forth and so on. The curious thing is, in the ancient text, we find something strange, that the people that are mentioned as not being human, quote unquote, they were looked upon to be as gods, even though we know now that they were not gods. They were just people with advanced knowledge. They looked a lot like us, but not exactly like us. Because when you read the text, they can identify these people. They can identify and distinguish between them and humans, although they were extremely similar. The text in various different cultures all point to the same people, right? When you look at, for example, the Hopi out of the North Americas, they say things like, we were seeded on this planet by the Pleiadians, our star brothers. When you look at the Aboriginals in Australia, where I just came back from and sat out in the outback with them, and it's all recorded on video, I think the podcasts have been put up, that they were brought and seeded to this planet by Pleiadians. When you look at the indigenous culture called the Dogons, which now inhabit Mali, Africa, but a long time ago were the original inhabitants of the land of ancient Kemet, they also say that a tribe, a space tribe, visited them from a star called Sirius B, a star that you can't see with the naked eye, and that they call them the Nomo. And they say that this culture, that these beings gave them advanced knowledge. Interesting. And then we have other cultures, like the Maya. The Maya, who in their own information, and the Aztecs, speak on the fact that they stumbled upon Teotihuacan and this ancient advanced civilization that had been abandoned, that the Maya didn't build anything and the Aztecs didn't build anything. The Aztecs came even far beyond the time of the Maya. That what was there was just inherited. These structures were already there. And that the gods built them. Ironically, one of the gods' names is Tahuti in Africa. In northern Central Africa, in a place called Egypt, he was called Thoth. But the irony of that is there are some Sumerian texts which talks about Thoth being sent to what we called Mesoamerica to build an advanced civilization. And Teotihuacan translates into the city of Tahuti, the same person from Africa. So not only did these people come from heaven to earth, according to the ancient text, because if you read the Egyptian book of Going Forth by Day, now known as the Egyptian Book of the Dead, in there, they say that at the time of Zep Tepi, which is the beginning times, the Netiru, aka the gods, came from heaven to earth and turned mud into a kingdom. We keep seeing this same story in various different ways of people coming from somewhere else, coming to this planet, and then in some way, shape, or form engaging mankind. And the importance of this is that at some point, this is where I'm going, at some point in the text, they began to mate with humans. This is the most incredible thing that hardly anyone's talking about. I mean, I don't care which culture it is, at some point they engage in sexual activity with humans. And in some of the stories, they actually procreate. It's really interesting that these stories are talking about beings that come from somewhere else, engaging mankind and mating. And in some cases, the mating actually worked. And these beings were known as men of renown. They call them the savants, the heroes of old, mighty men. In some texts they were called. In the Bible, they were called the Anak, not the Anunnaki. They were called the Anak, A-N-A-K, in the Old Testament. And in the scripture where they talk about the Anak, they say that we were grasshoppers in their eyesight. These were massive people. In the Epic of Gilgamesh, we discover that one of these Anuna mated with a human, and Gilgamesh was born. And you can read the Epic of Gilgamesh. It's one of the biggest, incredible writings from the Sumerian culture of all time. And Gilgamesh was a massive giant. Gilgamesh was so massive that he can hold a lion in one arm like it was a kitty cat. Big man, massive, maybe 15, 20 feet. Incredibly strong. The Epic of Gilgamesh tablet is located in the British Museum. It's one of the greatest writings in history that have been preserved. The full story of Noah's Ark, actually his name was Ziusudra, is in the Epic of Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh met up with Noah on his way to find the secret to immortality. It's a great story. You got to read it. But Gilgamesh was a massive, massive man. He became the king of Uruk. But again, he's the offspring of a hybridization. He's what they call a demigod, half human, half God. Although we know that that G is a lowercase g, because God doesn't need to procreate in that way, obviously, right? Pretty interesting. And then now we fast forward into 2026. And then again, we hear people that worked in the government saying that they've been briefed on an alien breeding program. So it doesn't surprise me at all. It doesn't surprise me one bit. Not one bit. To me, it makes absolute sense. Now, do I agree with their method? No. But they only got the idea to engage in this type of activity from the ancient text. They're trying to create superhumans. What they're trying to do. They want to see if they can create them and control them. They're also trying to find different type of genetics that they can create that give a version of immortality, right? Not true, real immortality, but extended lifespans, greatly extended lifespans, because we know that these beings live for hundreds and sometimes thousands of years. So they're trying to find the secrets to this immortality. They're also trying to find how they were able to fight off most illnesses and diseases genetically. And so it doesn't surprise me that they would have this type of program, if it's real. Do I know if it's real? I don't know. All I can tell you is what Matt Gaetz said, but he's not the first person to say this. He's only the most recent person to say this. And when things start to get repeated over and over again, you almost have to assume there's no coincidences, that someone's trying to leak some of the information. And it makes sense because homeless people keep disappearing off the streets and no one knows where they've gone. Also, a certain amount of people disappear every year, almost the same exact number. It's almost as if there's a quota of people to remove from the streets and steal. Thank you for that donation. So it's pretty interesting. What does it mean? It means we just got to pay more attention, you know? We need to pay more attention. We need to research these topics. We need to see, we need a tracking program for homeless people. I know that's one of the hardest things to probably accomplish, but we have to start tracking people and taking our own count, our own head count in some way, shape, or form. Because people are disappearing. Just over the last few months, several major scientists, astrophysicists have completely disappeared. Several of them gone. One of them was working on a huge top secret project. I believe it was dealing with the IXS. Okay. The IXS is a starship being built right now that has warp drive, FTL, faster than light transportation. Just like on, Star Trek. They tested the Albuquerque drive in a laboratory and it actually created a warp field. And that was a long time ago. Maybe by now they've created a stable warp field, and maybe they've been testing this, and maybe they have done something like violated some type of code, right? Code of engagement, or who knows what they've done. Either way, I believe that people directly involved in that program, these astrophysicists, are disappearing. Now, do I have any direct evidence that they were directly connected to this? I can only go by what I read and what I can piece together. I could be wrong. But it seems as if they were all working on this project. And if they were, it's possible that when you have a ship that can travel at the speed of light or faster and visit other civilizations, like maybe fly to Alpha Centauri, which is a very close star system, and maybe encounter life there. And if you discover that that life has not achieved a level of warp drive or space travel, and they're more primitive, and you engage them by showing up on the land like these ancients did with us, all of a sudden you create a new religion. You become their gods. What if these astrophysicists and scientists and rocket scientists that have been disappearing, what if they knew that these basic rules of engagement were violated and they wanted to tell the world about it? What if they found out that the program had done some things that violated some of the oaths that they had taken when it began, or that it was involved in some nefarious activities that they may be willing to expose? When I tell you these people disappeared, they disappeared. One gentleman, his eyeglasses were still in the kitchen or whatever on the table. His watch was left behind, just gone. No trace. Meanwhile, they have these programs, and I'm going to share my screen here and run one. And they talk about this in open settings, like these congressional hearings.
Ms. Mays.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good morning to our witnesses who are testifying today. I want to thank each of you for being here to discuss a topic of grave importance to our national security. Earlier this year, a Chinese spy balloon was shot down off the coast of my home state of South Carolina. Since the Roswell incident in 1947, many Americans have wondered about the dangers of unknown objects crisscrossing our skies, whether these are UAPs or weather phenomena, advanced technology from American allied or enemy forces, or something more out of this world. So my first question, I have several questions, and if we can just be quick on these first two, I'm going to ask each of you the same question, and then I'll get to each of you individually. The first one, when you reported your experiences with a UAP, did any of you face any repercussions with your superiors, yes or no?
No.
No. I've actually never seen anything personally, believe it or not. So.
All right. And then do you believe there's an active disinformation campaign within our government to deny existence of UAPs, yes or no?
I don't have an answer to that.
As previously stated publicly, yes.
I think previously with like Project Blue Book, yes, but currently I don't speak for the United States government.
Okay, thank you. I have a few questions for Mr. Graves. What percentage of UAP sightings in your belief go unreported by our pilots?
This is an approximation based off of my personal experience speaking with a number of pilots, but I would estimate we're somewhere near 5% reporting perhaps.
So like 95% basically don't report seeing UAPs.
That's just my personal estimate.
In the incident off Virginia Beach, do you believe the Navy took the danger to your aircraft seriously after it was reported?
Absolutely.
A few questions for Mr. Favor. As an expert naval aviator, have you ever seen an object that looked and moved like the Tic Tac UAP?
No.
Did the Tic Tac UAP move in such a way that defied the laws of physics?
The way we understand them, yes.
Many dismiss UAP reports as classified weapons testing by our own government, but in your experience as a pilot, does our government typically test advanced weapon systems right next to multi-million-dollar jets without informing our pilots?
No, we have test ranges for that.
It took over 15 years for your encounter with the Tic Tac to be declassified. Do you feel there was a good reason to prevent lawmakers from having access to this footage?
No, I just think it was ignored when it happened and it just sat somewhere in a file, never got reported.
In a drawer. It happens a lot up here. Shocker. Mr. Gresh, a couple of questions for you too, sir, this morning. What percentage of UAPs do you feel are adequately investigated by the U.S. government of the 5% that are reported?
I can only speak for my personal leadership over at NGA. I tried to look at every report that came through that I could triage. So.
Do you believe that officials at the highest levels of our national security apparatus have unlawfully withheld information from Congress and subverted our oversight authority?
There are certain elected leaders that had more information that I'm not sure what they've shared with certain Gang of Eight members or et cetera, but certainly I would not be surprised.
Okay. You've stated that the government is in possession of potentially non-human spacecraft. Based on your experience and extensive conversations with experts, do you believe our government has made contact with intelligent extraterrestrials?
Something I can't discuss in public setting.
Okay, I can't ask when you think this occurred. If you believe we have crashed craft, stated earlier, do we have the bodies of the pilots who piloted this craft?
As I've stated publicly already in my News Nation interview, biologics came with some of these recoveries. Yeah.
Were they, I guess, human or non-human biologics?
Non-human, and that was the assessment of people with direct knowledge on the program I talked to that are currently still on the program.
And was this documentary evidence, this video, photos, eyewitness? Like, how would that be determined?
The specific documentation I would have to talk to you in a skiff about.
Gotcha. Okay. So, and you may or may not be able to answer my last question, and maybe we get into a skiff at the next hearing that we have, but who in the government, either what agency, sub-agency, what contractors, who should be called into the next hearing?
I just wanted to show you that one where David Grush says that we are in possession of non-human entities and we have alien craft. I just want you to know that we have the craft and we have the people that flew the craft. Now, where they are exactly, I don't know. But when you hear people saying that there's a hybridization program going on and a mating program being attempted, I tend to want to believe them when they say those things, just because of what I know from the past. Let me show you a little something about these missing people.
Police are searching for a retired Air Force general who vanished in New Mexico. William McCaslin went missing last month. Members of Congress are warning this could be a national security issue. The general was involved with the Pentagon's most advanced aerospace research. He oversaw a classified space weapons program. McCaslin was in charge of the Air Force Research Lab at a base in Ohio. It's rumored that base holds extraterrestrial debris from the Roswell crash site. The general was tied in with the UFO community. A source told the New York Post the general was a gatekeeper for anything UFO related in the Air Force. He retired due to mental fog, but investigators say he's still highly intelligent and capable. McCaslin was an avid hiker. His wife last saw him leaving with a backpack and a .38 revolver. No phone, no glasses. He disappeared 6 days right after Trump announced he was releasing the UFO files. And he's not the only one. 8 months before the general vanished, a rocket scientist who worked under him years ago also went missing. She was hiking in California with 2 other people. They saw her smiling and waving 30 feet behind them. When they turned back again, she was gone, vanished in plain sight. They searched for days and couldn't find any trace of her. This is a very, very strange situation. And 11 days before the general disappeared, another scientist was shot dead on his porch. Carl Grillmar was known for discovering signs of water on a distant planet. And he was gunned down in California. Freddie Snyder was later charged with his murder. He has a rap sheet, but was let out of jail by a Newsom-appointed judge weeks before he allegedly killed the scientist. We still don't know his motive. And we don't know if these cases are even connected. But this many top scientists getting killed or going missing in just under a year looks like a major red flag. Chris Swecker is a
Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Major red flag. There are no coincidences. So what in the hell is going on? What the hell is going on? There's 2 more scientists missing as well. That's not even on that list. There's something bizarre going on. I remember back in 2014 or 15 on my Facebook page, Forbidden Knowledge, and on my Forbidden Knowledge Instagram account, I posted that there were over 70 NASA scientists that automatically somehow got into the most horrific accidents. Some died on a ski slope, some had a car go over the cliff. These are all in different parts of the country, sometimes in different parts of the world. They had the most horrendous final destination accidents, all of them, all gone. Within the course of a year and a half, 70 of the top scientists gone. What is this cover up? What are they trying to hide? It's pretty interesting. All we can do is ask questions. We don't have any answers. We can just ask questions. It's crazy stuff, though. It's really insane. And you can't ignore it because it's right in our face. It's in broad daylight. They're hiding in plain sight. We just don't know exactly what's happening. But we know that something's not right. That's for sure. Something definitely is not right. We do know for a fact, though, that they have the non-human entities, aka aliens, and they have the craft. You see, these craft, like the Roswell craft that one scientist that disappeared himself was involved in, a lot of the technology from that Roswell craft in 1947 was utilized to create technologies that we're using today. And that's pretty much well documented. The microchip came from the Roswell crash. Fiber optic cables came from the Roswell crash. Velcro, it came from the Roswell crash. So many other different types of technologies came from the Roswell crash. They took it, they reverse engineered it, and then they slowly trickled down and monetized it to the general population. Some of the other aspects of it, they've kept and are still utilizing in private capacity. Black budget projects, black budget programs, projects that are being developed with no congressional oversight by private corporations like Northrop Grumman and Lockheed Martin. Still working with some of that reversed technology today, that reverse engineered technology, ARVs, alien reproduction vehicles. That's why some of the stuff you see in the sky is not alien, it's ours. Because we've successfully reverse engineered some of the technologies, and we've been doing that since the 1940s. And we've become pretty damn good at it. A lot of this stuff is just reverse tech. Now, are there real aliens still visiting us? Yeah. But there's also stuff up there that's actually made by human beings. All right? They just needed a little bit of a kickstart to get the understanding of some of the engineering. For example, the TR-3B. The TR-3B is a flying triangle with a circulating centrifuge in its center. And what's in that centrifuge? It's a rotating ferrofluid vortex engine that most likely is pressurized to about 250,000 atmospheres and electrified, creating an anti-gravity bubble around the triangle, giving it incredible maneuverability with a fly-by-wire technology, allowing the pilots to make moves and stop on the dime in the sky that would kill a normal pilot. They can withstand G-forces and banking G-forces because that anti-gravity bubble has encapsulated them so they don't feel the normal effects of G-forces. That's just one. That's just one. And that's actually old. When I went to the Space Symposium in Colorado Springs in 2018, and had TS clearance to private space and sat there listening to some of the top aerospace engineers, scientists, and CEOs of private space corporations. And what I can tell you is this: they're not 40, 50 years ahead of us. Now, I used to say 300. Now I would say they're probably 500 years ahead of us by now, because that's been since 2018. And at that moment in 2018, they were about 300 years ahead of us, technologically, us meaning the civilians. Now they're probably about 500 years ahead of us. And as I stated before, whatever you can think of, they've already done it. And I'm talking about whatever you can conceive in your mind, it's been done. They have technology that will blow you away. And we think that we're struggling to get rockets into space. It's such a grand illusion that we have to burn chemicals and ride up into space on explosions. We have to get on commercial airplanes that use jet fuel and force air through a jet to propel us through the sky to get to our next destination, flying at like 500 knots. I mean, it's just ridiculous. We have incredible technology that you wouldn't even believe. If you saw it, you'd think you were watching a sci-fi movie. They've only exposed the teleportation recently to the general public of data packets and molecules being teleported from one point to the other. That's only what they want us to see, that they can teleport particles. They can teleport a lot more than particles. They can teleport more solid objects. Biological teleportation hasn't been perfected yet. Maybe, just maybe it has been behind the scenes. Teleportation is a very tricky thing because it requires a lot of storage space. In order to teleport a person, you need to store the data of every position and vibration of every atom, spin rate up or down, and its exact precise vibration and location as well in the XYZ axis, and then reproduce that on the other side. That requires an enormous amount of storage space. Now, it used to be a storage space issue back then, but now with the invention of the DNA hard drive, storage space is no longer an issue. On a device the size of this cell phone, you can store all the data of everything that exists on planet Earth by using a molecular/hardware storage system, because DNA can store data in a volume. George Church took 1 drop of DNA, 1 gram, and he took his ebook and he converted his ebook from zeros and ones to A, C's, T's, and G's, and he downloaded his ebook onto 1 gram of DNA. Then he replicated his ebook 80 billion times on that drop, recognizing that DNA can store data in a volume. And then he reconverted or back converted the A, C's, T's, and G's back into zeros and ones and uploaded the information back to the server. So it's send, receive. DNA sends and receives data. There is already data and information written on our DNA from the beginning of the existence of DNA. They discovered that one human body can store about 13.5 billion years of data. Ironically, that's about the age of the universe itself, according to astrophysicists. So all the secrets of the universe are already inside of you. Then they discovered that each individual atom can store data. So they took a holmium atom And they took a very special tool and they were able to write data directly onto the atom. And then they began to realize atoms store information. And we're made of billions of atoms. Atoms have been here since the beginning of time. So when you see someone that appears to be older or younger than you, they're not. Because we're all made of atoms and all atoms are the same exact age, because everything that exists here now was once connected in the size of something the size of a green pea at the very beginning of the creation of this universe. All it did was expand, and energetically we're still connected. And so that means that if you have a son that's 5 and you're 35, you and your son are still the same exact age anatomically, or atomically, I should say, atomically. Atomically, you're the same age because all atoms are the same age. Nobody's older than you and nobody's younger than you. Only the spirit that inhabits the avatar can be older or younger, but the avatar itself, they're all the same age, no matter when they're born. Think about that for a minute, okay? It's been a great night talking on these topics. Just cool to hop on and just chill and just talk about these incredible things and hypothesize and, just see kind of where it goes. I have a lot of events up and coming, a lot of events coming up, and I want to drop a link in the live chat to a lot of my events. I also have them in the actual caption of this video. My events and tours, I'll be going all around the United States in the next few weeks and few months as well. And if you want to come see me, if you want to come on my tours to hang out with me in other countries, I'm going to drop the link in the live chat. If you're on TikTok, the link is in my bio. If you're on X, the link is in my bio. Anywhere else, the link is in the caption. I'm dropping it right now in the live chat. That's my link tree. On my link tree pretty much has just about everywhere that I'll be going. I'll be speaking at the New Living Expo in California in a few weeks in April. The New Living Expo in California. I will be speaking in Dallas, Texas with Roderick Martin in a week and a half, I believe, in Dallas, Texas. Come see me in Dallas, Texas. A very small group there, meet and greet, lectures, the whole works. We are interviewing an Epstein survivor live on stage in Dallas, Texas. If you want more information about what's happened there, I just dropped that link in the live chat, entertruth.com, but my link tree also should have it linked there as well, entertruth.com, or the link in my bio. Also, I will be speaking at the Hard Rock in New Jersey. I'm waiting on the exact date for that. That date is coming up very soon. I'll be speaking at the Hard Rock in New Jersey. And then I also have the Quest for Ancient Civilizations in Sedona, May 1st through the 3rd. May 1st through the 3rd, Sedona, Arizona. Again, that link for the Quest for Ancient Civilizations is in my link tree. I just dropped the link again. Then I'm going to somehow find my way to Spain. I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to do it, but I will accomplish that. I will be in Spain with Robert Grant. After speaking in Spain, I'm going to take a little break and fly over to Italy and just kind of relax for a few days. And then I'm gone again to more destinations. I've got a tour in Egypt coming up, an Egypt tour. The link is also in the bio for the Egypt tour. Click on that link and learn more about the Egypt tour. And also we have a tour to the Pyramid Tour of Mexico coming up in October. You don't want to miss that Pyramid Tour of Mexico. We're going to be climbing all the pyramids, which nobody can do, going inside of the pyramids, which nobody can do. And we're going to explore the jungle and find pyramids that nobody even knows exist and never visit. It's going to be a great exploration, a great tour, the great tour of the Mexican culture. We're going to be from Teotihuacan to Tulum to Chichen Itza, Coba, and everything in between. It's going to be a huge tour of Mexico. So if you want to come to that and hang out, that'll be great. I'm dropping the link in the live chat right now. Okay. All these events and tours are in there. I've got GSIC. That's going to be in September. I'll be on stage with David Icke. I almost forgot to tell you, Billy Carson and David Icke in the UK in September. That's going to be mind-blowing. I'm looking forward to being on stage with David Icke. That's going to be megalithic. Megalithic. I was talking with David Icke today. He's excited. I can't wait to get there. I cannot wait to be on sharing the same stage with David Icke, the living legend, David Icke. Man, it's going to be incredible. That's going to be in September, okay, at the Galactic Conference in the UK. I cannot wait. Amazing. And so many other great talents there, Praveen Mohan and so many others. So I'm looking forward to that. Anyway, I'll be dropping these links more often. Right now, the links are in here. I'm getting ready to go on my my Inner Circle Mentor program, which I have to start in about 10 minutes. So I got to get out of here now so I can get some water and get refreshed. I'm looking forward to it. All right. I appreciate y'all. Click that link tree. Check out all the events and situations that I have going on and see which one matches up with you. I'd love to see you there very, very soon. All right. Thanks for hanging out, TikTok. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for hanging out on all the other platforms and X, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, everywhere that I'm linked. I will catch y'all later. All right. Peace.